for joining us today. My name is Katie Starantino, if you don't know me yet. I'm the Director of Wellness Initiatives here at Friends Life Care. We're really glad you're here with us today, and we encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. Our speaker will be checking in throughout, and you're going to do that by using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So if you just hover your cursor over the bottom of the screen, you'll see two bubbles and it'll say Q&A, and that's what you'll use to ask us questions as we go. So I think many of us recognized during the pandemic how important technology was, if we hadn't recognized that before, especially for a way to stay connected. And so for those of you that are Friends Life Care members, you know that our care coordinators work really hard to keep you healthy and well and connect you to resources. And TechOWL is one of those really fabulous resources we like to refer to. So we're thrilled to have them here today to speak with us. And our speaker today is Tom DiAgostino. I made sure that Tom and I practiced his last name, even though I'm Katie Starantino, but I had trouble with his name for some reason. And he is the Outreach and Training Coordinator at TechOWL. Before starting at TechOWL in 2019, Tom worked as an English teacher through the Fulbright Commission in Uruguay, as well as a social worker and Spanish interpreter in the foster care system in North Philadelphia. As a person with dyslexia, Tom is passionate about readability and website accessibility. Along with managing TechOWL's social media platforms, Tom also co-leads the fabrication program, Create Together, and assists with managing the TechOWL website. So I will hand it over to you, Tom. And again, please ask questions throughout. We really want to tailor this to what you're looking for today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And you can see the screen. I'm having trouble finding the Q&A.
Oh, you can. Oh, can you not see it? I can see it on my end.
I am. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay, I found it. I just wanted to make sure that I had access to the Q&A. Great. And I see that there's 41 people participating, so that's wonderful. Please feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A. I'm going to have the Q&A open throughout the presentation. I love to address questions when they happen, like during the presentation. If there's something that you find or see there, I'll more than happy to respond. So this is a general presentation about TechOWL's resources geared toward older adults. And kind of, there's going to be a lot of technologies that I'm going to bring up that you can borrow through our programs, and hopefully give further explanations of what those things are. So it's important to start with who's TechOWL. So TechOWL stands for Technology for Our Whole Lives. We are a program of the Institute on Disabilities at Temple University. If anyone knows Temple, they know that the mascot is the owl, and so part of TechOWL, that owl bit at the end, is kind of reflecting that we are housed here at Temple University. We are also the Pennsylvania's designated Assistive Technology Act program. Every single state in the nation has an Assistive Technology Act program. We just happen to be Pennsylvania's part of that, but New Jersey, Delaware, New York, California, every single state and territory has one of us. They are not all called TechOWL, so TechOWL is just for Pennsylvania, but each one of us, we all exist everywhere in the country. TechOWL is organized, because we cover this entire vast state. We are organized through regional centers where we have TechOWL representatives all throughout the state. So we are 9 regional centers total. I'm representing TechOWL in the Southeast region, Philadelphia area. So Philadelphia, Montgomery, Delaware, Bucks, and Chester counties is where I'm kind of located, but we have regional centers all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as you can see on this map. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about assistive technology. So there is an official definition of assistive technology, which is any item or piece of equipment that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capacities for an individual with disabilities. I much prefer the common sense definition, which is tools that make life easier, safer, and more independent. A question just came in the chat. Is this presentation for people who live in the US only? So this presentation is going to be useful for any person. We represent the state of Pennsylvania, so this is going to be helpful for anyone who does live in the United States, but there are so many tools and technologies I'm going to talk about that is going to be just useful for anyone. And are seniors considered disabled? So that's a really great question. I don't necessarily, when I talk about assistive technology, I'm not necessarily talking about you have this disability, which means you need this solution. As we're going to go through the presentation, you're going to see that we consider assistive technology as someone has this access need, and this tool is going to address this access need, or this range of tools is going to help with this access need. And I have an example kind of like in the next slide after this one that should help with that question. So we like to kind of use a bit of a spectrum to kind of talk about assistive devices, because a lot of times assistive devices are super helpful and super useful, but things are like a little bit too high tech sometimes. And so we like to have a range of things. So we have some no tech or light tech solutions, and we like to use these lighter tech solutions because they're typically very intuitive. You don't need a lot of like training or support, right, to use those things. So something like a grab bar or like a little like seat lift, those things are going to help us with functions, right? It's like getting off of your seat. To have just like a little extra bump to get off your seat is super helpful. To have a grab bar in the bathroom or in the shower, right? Super useful and super helpful tool. These are really kind of intuitive things. When we get into the more medium and high tech range, so talking about smart home solutions, or maybe using an Apple Watch or a phone or something to help us, that's a little bit more like you need a support or someone to like teach you how to do it, and like sometimes it gets glitchy. So we like to use this range to kind of identify like there's many different types of solutions, right, to make sure that we're all like safe and happy. And we just have to find the type of solution that works for us best. Awesome. There are many organizations in Canada as well that do a lot of incredible assistive technology solutions. I would recommend investigating the Neil Squire Foundation in Canada. So addressing kind of the whole question about disability, right? Like are seniors considered disabled, right? So how we address assistive technology is not necessarily looking for a diagnosis. We don't really need that, right? We don't need that. We just need to know what do you want to do? So the first thing we ask is we want to know what that person's abilities and challenges are. And so we find, okay, you can predictably make this motion. Great. You can predictably grab onto something. Great. What challenges are you having? Standing up might be a challenge. Or once you're up, you might get lightheaded or lose your balance, right? That's a challenge. So the act of standing up might be the challenge, but you're able to hold on to something. Great. So what's the task? The task is to stand up independently or stand up without needing someone's assistance, right? So that's the needs and expectations right there. So you need to stand up independently, and the expectation is that you need a tool to help with that. The environment is, let's say, the home, right? You're just like in your living room. What are some potential solutions? Well, having a grab bar, right, could be a potential solution right there. If you want a little higher tech solution, maybe you could have your Apple Watch programmed to detect if you do fall, and God forbid if you fall, at least someone will get a text message from your Apple Watch, maybe a police officer will be called or 911 will be called to like get you. So you can have multiple different technology solutions to assist you in that one action. So that's kind of how we consider assistive technology, right? Sometimes we have limitations and we want to use technology to assist us in those limitations, right? To make sure that we have that, that capacity. Wonderful, wonderful. Just checking the Q&A. So how can TechOWL, how can TechOWL help? So TechOWL in Pennsylvania, we have so many programs. Honestly, I recommend if you're like a service provider or you work with people who have disabilities or you work in senior services, just go to our service tab on our website, which I will type in the chat. So TechOWL helps people learn and try devices. So we have a lending library. I can say across the US, I want to say most states, the vast majority of states have something like a lending library or the ability to try something out. In our state, we have a robust lending library of over 400 devices. We also provide device demonstrations. We do a lot of those device demonstrations over Zoom because we understand, people it can have greater access to our services if they can do it in a remote format, right? But we also have a demonstration room where people can come to our office and demonstrate whatever they would like. We have an emergency planning program, so making sure that we're all prepared for any emergency, and there we can talk about different devices, like devices that help detect falling, or devices that can call 911, or if there's elopement, right? Devices that can help make sure that everyone is safe. We also have information and assistance, and so people can just generally call us and we will give them advice. We have multiple ways to contact us, which I'll get to the end of the presentation. We also help people get devices. We have a reused equipment program where we receive donated devices that we kind of clean up and spruce up and give back out to the community. We have our free special phone program, which is exactly how it sounds. It is a program to connect people to phones who might need an amplified phone or a phone with big buttons, right? So if using a phone is difficult, this program is probably for you. We have both landline and smartphones in this program. We have a fabrication program where we 3D print assistive devices and give them out to people for free. We also have Del Sordo Fund, which is a mini grant of $200 that anyone can use to get assistive technology. We also help people kind of navigate that funding source, which is a really hard conversation. So we don't always have the answers. Yes, so I just received a question, what is your website? So I typed it in the chat. I'm not sure. The webinar Zoom format is not my favorite format. I typed it in the chat box, but I'm going to type it in this response and send it, and hopefully everyone can see. Our website is techowlpa.org. So that's techowlpa.org. I have it typed in the chat, and I also have it typed in the Q&A. So if you can't see that, please let me know. So a little bit about our demonstrations. So you can visit us in Philadelphia, or you can connect to us via Zoom to discuss your options. If you are not in the Philadelphia area, you can contact your local regional center, or you can contact us and we'll connect you. That's totally fine. And they will also meet with you via Zoom or meet with you in person, whatever works best for your need, right? So you'll schedule with the person, and we have, at TechOWL, we have an occupational therapist, we have speech language pathologists, we have assistive technology professionals, ATPs, we have a blind and low vision specialist. So we have so many people who are very, very qualified. Also, many of us identify as being disabled and use assistive technology on a day-to-day. For example, our blind and low vision therapist, specialist, Julianne, is blind and uses things like screen readers and different kind of navigating devices and a white cane, right, on a day-to-day basis. And so we have a lot of lived experience on staff as well. And when asking for a demonstration or a consultation from us, you can invite anyone that supports you, right? So if you want a family member to be involved in that because they're going to be assisting you with your device, you're more than welcome to invite them to those demonstrations. We firmly believe that assistive technology is a community effort, right? And so being able to address these things. Wonderful. Thank you all for confirming that you received the website. So TechOWL's Lending Library. This is one of our I want to say flagship programs. So this program works where you go to our website, techowlpa.org/library on the screen, and you sign up for that library, and it's completely free. So we will ship the device to your home. You're allowed to have that device for 5 weeks. We will provide an extension if there isn't a wait list. This program is really popular, especially for speech language pathologists. So I don't know if anyone here is a speech language pathologist, but our communication devices are constantly in demand. So there's typically a wait list. But a lot of our other devices don't have wait lists. So if you need to use something for longer than that 5 weeks to figure out if you like it or not, you could just reach out to us and say, hey, I want an extension. And if there's no one waiting for it, we'll let you have it for an extended period of time. So we as staff who are administering this program will help you troubleshoot problems and learn about the devices and how it works. We offer up to 2 hours of problem solving through this program. And again, it's completely free if you live in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We ship it to you, and then inside the box, you will have a return label that's prepaid. So you just save the box, save the label, you use the device for as long as you want, and then, or for the 5 weeks or longer if you ask for an extension, and then you just mail it right back, even in the same box, if you'd like. So some things that we have in our learning library, like I mentioned, we have a lot of communication devices. These are like really, really helpful. And we have multiple apps. And so what we do is we have iPads and we remotely put apps. And so we'll send you an iPad and we will remotely install apps for you. So we have some simpler and lower tech kind of communication devices as well that we offer, but we have a ton, we have a very robust library of high tech communication devices. We also have a lot of like access to different apps that we can put on those iPads. So you can request an iPad, and then on that we can input something like Seeing AI, which is an incredibly helpful tool. We do have apps like Roger Voice and Ava that help people with hearing. We do have things like Ken Plan, Recipe Keeper, and Voice Reminder for those iPads, and things like Daily Yoga and World Walking, right? That we can kind of just input onto that as well. And these are all kind of like pretty low cost apps that anyone, if you have a smartphone, that you could just download onto your smartphone. Some of the equipment that we have for vision and hearing are like the central alert system, which is a bed shaker and an alarm, which is super useful and helpful, especially if someone is hard of hearing or deaf. We have a Big Buttons home phone, which is part of our free special phone program. So we recommend that anyone who wants to get a free phone from us to borrow it first. So we have all of the phones in our catalog for the free phone program in our library. So you're more than welcome to test out which ones you think would work best for you versus just like checking the box and saying, I want this. Like you can borrow it and figure it out. We have different like personal amplifiers. And so this is called a Pocket Talker, the device in the lower left-hand side of the screen. And so it's this external device which you could like loop around your neck. And it has a little microphone, so you could hold it up to someone's face so that they can speak into the microphone, and then the headphones will kind of amplify that sound for you. We also have VisioBook desktop magnifiers. We have one in our demo center, but we have a couple that we can just mail out. And this is almost like a doc cam if anyone's a former educator. So it's kind of like a camera that sits on top of the book. And then what it does is it magnifies the book, but it also allows you to change contrast so that you can, rather than having the black and white, you can switch it to black and yellow or white and black. We also have Netgear wearable speaker, which is very similar to a Pocket Talker. Again, it amplifies that sound for you. Some computer access devices we have in our lending library is keyboards with a key guard on top of it. So you don't like click more than one button or more than one letter on the keyboard. We have a rollerball mouse. So different types of mice. Two other types of mice that we have two different gyroscopic mice. One that sits on your head, you could have a headband or like a ball cap. And you could just like have it like gently like tuck into that, and then you could use your head, or a wrist mouse. So you could use your wrist to maneuver that. I do see we have a Q&A in the chat. Are you going to discuss more sophisticated technology? Yes. And do we have a copy of the slides? I will absolutely send that as well. And I know that this presentation is being recorded. So you're going to have access to both the slides as well as the recording. So it's important to also, speaking of sophisticated devices, it's really important to mention smart home devices. Smart home devices truly have allowed for a significant amount of independence. Prior to smart home devices, the kind of like environmental control unit was called a REACH, R-E-A-C-H, which stands for something that I cannot remember. It's like a very long acronym. To have an acronym 5 letters long is pretty long. But the REACH, or smart home technology, is now allowing people to control their thermostat, control their lights. You can even have devices that attach to your curtains to like open and close your curtains, to lock your door, to turn on and off air conditioners, so, or fans even. So smart home technology has really made that ability to have that level of independence in the home so much more accessible and affordable. So we are big fans. We also have smart home kits in our lending library. So if you're like a little like concerned about purchasing smart home technology, you don't know if it's going to work for you or not, we do have some smart home technology in our demo center as well as our library, so you're more than welcome to borrow that. Also, I love smart home technology. If you just need to talk about it, you're more than welcome to reach out and we can have a conversation. We also have some personal care tools. So we have a toothbrush pillow. You know, if accessing your toothbrush, like you just need like a little bit of a lip or a little bit of like a stationary position. Toothbrush pillow is great. We love that. The MedReady, we love the MedReady. It is a kind of automatic pill dispenser, and you can program it with the time that you need it. And so like if you have like maybe like a home health aide or personal care assistant, they would be able to kind of like schedule and set up that MedReady for you for like the week, and it's super useful. Also, things like an automatic nail clipper. So if like isolating your nail, your fingernail, and like holding the clipper is like kind of difficult, they make automated ones. We love automated things. So speaking of automated things, we have so many eating and kitchen gadgets that are automated and so useful. So one of my favorites is the automated can opener, which is on the lower right-hand side of the screen. Automated can openers are super generic technology. You could literally get it at the dollar store, but it's just so helpful, right? For anyone like using a manual can opener is just so taxing. Another automated eating device on the upper left is the Obi Dining Robot, which is a literal robot that has 2 buttons that you can press, and it feeds you. So it's an automated feeder. And so you just put your food in the 4 slots and then the robot will feed you. You just control it with these 2 buttons. There is a liftware level spoon. We love this for anyone that might have a tremor or a shaky hand. And it just like levels out. It goes with the motion of your hand. So if you have a shaky hand, that little top contraption there, it just like levels it out so that the food stays on the spoon. There are also different ergonomic, I guess, like cutting boards. So this one is like a one-handed cutting board, but there are also a couple different types of cutting boards out there. There are like safe knives, which we really appreciate. I also love the knife glove. I don't have it on the screen, but we have it in our library. It's like a glove that you can use that like you won't cut yourself. And so it's like a safety thing. As well as any type of universal cuff. We have several that we fabricate, but that is kind of a commercial universal cuff that you can attach a fork to. And it's very, very useful. Any idea where I can get these products in Canada? In Canada, I would suggest contacting the Neil Squire Foundation. The Neil Squire Foundation has an assistive technology program. It's also a national program in Canada. They also have uniquely a fabrication program that 3D prints a lot of devices called Makers Making Change, which I'm going to actually just type your answer. So Neil Squire Foundation, and then I'm going to do Makers Making Change. And Makers Making Change has over 180 different devices in their 3D printing catalog, and they 3D print so much stuff. So really an incredible organization to connect with regarding assistive technology in Canada, if anyone else here is Canadian. We have leisure items. So something that we have is like gardening tools, which I thought was really, really cool, and like it's super helpful. We also have like a seat. There's like a gardening wiggle seat that's really fun and helpful. We have this strum adapted guitar, which is really cool to play with. I'm a cellist, actually. I dropped out of music school before I switched into more this area. So coming from like a music theory and musician's background, when I was kind of experimenting and playing with this, it was incredible how like accurate and how like musical this instrument really is. And I think that there is absolutely many ways to like incorporate something like this adaptive guitar into like an ensemble format. It was really, really kind of incredible to play with. And we also have like a universal remote. There are multiple different ways to connect like assistive technology to like the television. One is this universal remote. It's just like super intuitive and easy to use. And I love it. I also enjoy my Fire Stick. I have like the ALEXA device connected to my TV, and I could just like literally talk to the ALEXA to turn on the TV and turn on Netflix, which is really useful. So we just got a message in the chat. Oh, perfect. So we have medication management. So I think that this is a really important topic. So we have the MedReady, which I already talked about, right? It's this like automated thing. And then we have something called the pill drill, which is very, very similar to the MedReady. It's just like two different kind of formats. And then the last one we have is the Hero. And so all three of these devices, they are automated devices. They're incredible. They're super useful. The Hero requires a subscription where the MedReady and the pill drill do not. But the Hero is kind of way more intuitive, and like it's just so nice to have that kind of assistance when needed with that subscription. And so like if paying for a subscription is in the cards, I think that Hero really is a quality product. If not, the pill drill and the MedReady, they are very, very useful, but there is a steep learning curve. So especially if you have like someone assisting you who's like really tech savvy, I think that the pill drill and the MedReady are great medical management tools, but it is a little clunky. Also, fall prevention. I think this is really important. We do not have a grab bar and an Apple Watch in our lending library, but I think it's really important to talk about fall prevention in this format of a presentation, right? And so there are multiple types of grab bars that you can have. You can have grab bars that you can attach, like you can like put like how I have here, the sofa version of the grab bar. That's super useful and important. You can also have grab bars in bathrooms or mounted on walls and things like that. Just assisting people with potential falls. My house is filled with grab bars. My sister has cerebral palsy, and so that's a very fall-prone disability. So grab bars are super incredible to help prevent falls. Also, there are multiple devices that you can use to connect to either the hospital ambulance. You can call 911, like your Apple Watch, you can program to call contacts as well as 911 if your watch detects that you have fallen. There are also medical alert watches as well as pendants, and so you could wear that medical alert around your neck. There are some watches as well, and what you could do is you could press that button and it'll call your emergency contacts as well as the police. So these are all really helpful tools for fall prevention. Do you have something for pills that travels? Yeah, so yeah, I didn't put any light tech stuff in that slide now that you mentioned that. There are so many devices for medical management. Those three are just like super robust and kind of high tech. But there are like those travel ones. Also, we have a couple of TikTok videos about like really cute little ones that you can bring with you. So there are a lot of different kind of like lower tech, just really like straightforward, simple pop out that you can get at CVS type of pill dispensers. We have those too in our library. We have like so many different types of pill dispensers in our library that you're more than welcome to try. But yeah, there is absolutely many solutions for medical management, even for traveling as well. I do have to say, I find that the pill drill, if I don't know how to go back on my slides. There you go. The pill drill is pretty compact. So you do need that kind of like reminder and schedule that's pre-programmed, right? The pill drill is pretty small. So that could travel pretty well. So now I have just mentioned a ton of devices. If something that you need is not in our lending library, we have a suggest a new library item. So you're more than welcome to suggest, hey, I would love to try this thing and you don't seem to have it in your library. Would you be able to purchase this and can I try it? So that is how one way in which we have expanded our library is just by asking the public. And so please, if we don't have something that you would like to try, just let us know. And we refer to that list all the time when we're trying to expand our library. Every couple of months, we like sit down and think about more things that we can add. And like our minds, like we're constantly looking at devices and we're constantly adding devices to our library, but like we have kind of a scope, like we have our experiences, we don't have your experiences. And so we want the public to also tell us what they would like to see in our library. So we really love when people can tell us that. So please go in the lending library, see what you want is there. And if it's not there, hopefully we can get it for you. So beyond the lending library, we have many ways to access and acquire tech. So one is funding. And so funding is like really complicated and probably the thing that makes me the most anxious to talk about. But we kind of understand the systems of Medicaid, Medicare, and waivers, as well as vocational rehabilitation. So TechOWL offers evaluations for devices carried out by professionals who are certified on a fee-for-service basis. And so if you would like to use insurance to acquire a very expensive device, both Caitlin and Catherine are certified. So Caitlin is an ATP and Catherine is an SLP, and they both are able to do fee-for-service kind of consultations regarding kind of like high ticket items. We also love to just meet with you and figure out ways to acquire the device that you need without necessarily going through insurance, because a lot of times it's quicker and cheaper to just figure out kind of like other alternatives. So we want to talk about every alternative, right? So private funding sources, things like private insurance, crowdsourcing, maybe there are charities or foundations near you that have money to provide. You can also get it used, get it made, maybe get a loan. So two resources that we have to share, we always share, is we have the Virginia Del Sordo Fund, which is a last resort fund that gives you up to $200 to purchase a device, which is super helpful. $200 is not something to laugh at, but it's also not like a tremendous amount of money. And that is directly through us. A former TechOWL employee passed away and left a chunk of money in their will, and they donated it to us. And this is how we're using that donated money. We're just giving it right back to the community through this mini grant program. And her name is Virginia Del Sordo. So that's kind of like where the name of the program came from. And we also have, in Pennsylvania, we have Pennsylvania's Assistive Technology Foundation, or PATF. And they're an amazing organization. And I believe that they work outside the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I do not quote me on that, but they definitely serve Pennsylvania. They do low interest or zero interest loans. I believe it's zero interest up to $7,000, and beyond $7,000 is low interest up to $35,000. but I recommend going to their website if you are interested in a loan. They also do a ton with like financial literacy, and they do workshops and like kind of advising on financial literacy. They're the people to go to when it comes to understanding financial literacy and working kind of in this assistive technology framework. Great. As a great program for seniors. Perfect. Would the page magnifier work for reading the newspaper? Yes, absolutely. That magnifier would absolutely work for reading newspapers. Is TechOWL only offered to Friends Life Care and home members? TechOWL is offered to anyone in the state of Pennsylvania. So we are a full common statewide organization. If you do not live in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that is a-okay. Every state and territory of the United States has an Assistive Technology Act program. Additionally, I've mentioned Canada a few times. There are many organizations internationally that work with assistive technology for sure. But yeah, anyone in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, access TechOWL. We are here for you. So another way that we help people acquire devices through our services and programs is we have our reused equipment program. Like I said, like I mentioned before, we spruce things up and ship it out to people, and that's typically a free program. We have our free special phone program. Again, I've mentioned this. If you don't use a phone in a traditional way, or you struggle using a phone in a traditional way, like it's just not loud enough or the buttons are too small, we can assist you in getting a phone that meets your needs. We have a catalog of about 30 phones that might be a better match for your need. We also have the I Can Connect program. It is a program for people who have both vision and hearing loss, so deaf, blind. So if you have vision and hearing loss, we have a program that will help fund a wide array of technology based on your need with advising and with coaching. It's a really great program. We have our Create Together program. This is a program that I actually started. It is combining 3D printing and my knowledge of being kind of like a handyman to create assistive technology solutions for people. So we have a catalog of like 30 devices that we regularly print and ship. We also do larger builds as well as one-on-one projects, depending on our capacity. And that's a really fun thing that I enjoy sharing with people. We also have a Connect with Tech program. It is a free tablet program. So basically you just tell us that if you do not have a tablet in your home, you are eligible through us. Like if you don't have a computer or a tablet, let me rephrase, you are eligible through us to acquire a tablet. So please, if you have any questions about that, you're more than welcome to ask me. It's a great program. It's designed to help people access things like telehealth and teletherapy and accessing healthcare basically from home. A lot of people don't have tablets and don't have computers at home, so it's really important to get people connected to that technology. So used equipment, we have mobility devices like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, and canes. We have some DME or durable medical equipment like shower chairs and commodes, and assorted different assistive technologies. One time we got a screen magnifier, which is really great, and that went very quickly. And if you have any interest in learning more about the technology or the stuff that we have in the inventory, we update this regularly. So you can go to our website. This is the link. You'll have these slides after the presentation, but techowl.org/Philadelphia Reap Closet. And then you can see what we have in our inventory. So our free phone program, right, as I've mentioned a few times, it is an income-based program, so you have to earn below 200% of the federal poverty level. If you're on a fixed income like Social Security, you most likely qualify. And you can go to our website, techowlpa.org/TDDP. There, you will be able to apply online and see the phones that we have and how that program functions. Connect with Tech, so we're distributing 250 tablets per month to people who are at risk of health disparities, so disabled, unable to leave their home easily. They live in an area with limited healthcare access. They experience medical discrimination on the basis of language, race, sexuality, or other factors. So please, if you experience any of this and you do not have a computer or a tablet at home, apply online. You can go to our website, or you can call if you are more comfortable calling. You can call us as well at 215-204-0101. And this is our fabrication program. So as I mentioned, we have a catalog of devices. Here's a smattering of stuff that we offer, like bottle openers and fork supports, key helpers, styluses, adaptive nail clipper holders. So these are just some things that we offer, and we really try to like meet that need, right? These devices are relatively cheap on market, but if you need multiple things, 3D printing and sending it to people for free, it's just more accessible. And so we're always trying to make things easier for people to access. What is available in Delaware? So Delaware, their program I was just talking to them. They have an incredible program. If you Google find my assistive technology program, you're going to get a list of every state and territory. I'm going to type that. Find my assistive technology act program. If you type Find My Assistive Technology Act program into Google, it's one of the first links that pops up, and it's going to give you every single state. I can't remember, it's through an organization called AT3 Center. So when you're Googling it, so it's going to be AT3 Center's website, and then it's going to give you that whole list. Delaware has a very robust program. They do not do 3D printing, but they do have a lending library. They do consultations. They have an incredibly talented team. I'm always impressed by Delaware whenever I work with them. TechOWL can also do things like general questions. So you're more than welcome to ask me. You can email me at any time. You can call us. As you can tell, like through all of these questions, we're clearly very well connected here at TechOWL. So definitely, like if we don't know the answer, I can refer you to someone who does. We do trainings all the time. And so like this presentation that we're giving today, it's a free presentation. This is part of the reason why we are funded by the state, right? We do this for free for the public. We are trying to empower people and raise awareness about AT. We have a lot of outreach initiatives. If any of you are on social media, we are all over social media. Our TikTok account has over 200,000 followers. Our Instagram is just approaching 38,000 followers. Facebook is around 10,000 followers. So we are all over the internet, and you will see my face everywhere because I do most of our social media. So please, we're trying to just spread this information out there. And we also do a lot of just like general information. And so we have so many different guides to just like, if you're like confused about how to use your phone or like how to use your tablet or how to use your computer, we have many, many different guides that people can use. Thank you so much for putting that information for Delaware in the chat for me. I really appreciate it. So this is the end of the presentation. I do want to mention to like, please contact us. So you can call us at 800-204-7428. You can email us at techowl@temple.edu. We also have a chat function on TechOWL's website. The lower right-hand corner, there's a red circle, so you're able to chat us. If your native language is Spanish, I am bilingual, fluent. I'm also a Spanish professor at Temple, so you're more than welcome to contact us and I will talk to you in Spanish. We also are able to connect with interpreters online as well as ASL interpreters if your native language is other than English or Spanish. Please, you can follow up with us. You can DM us on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. I will receive those messages as well. And my colleague, took this slide from my colleague, obviously. My name is not Caitlin, my name is Tom, but you are more than welcome to reach out to me personally at thomasd@temple.edu. My name is Tom. And so while I monitor the chat and the Q&A for questions, I do have to stress that we desperately need your input on our survey. Because we are a federally funded nonprofit organization, we do not charge anyone for these presentations. All of our services are free, but we need to prove to the state that we do these presentations. So if you could please scan the QR code with your phone. I'm also going to type in the bit.ly link to the chat so that you can access the survey on your computer if you'd like. But yeah, please, I very much implore you all to provide us that feedback, because that's what we use to tell the state that we do our job.
Thank you, Tom. I will be taking the survey. And while we wait, just in case there's a few more questions, I actually have a question. Have you heard anything about specific apps or, I guess apps that seem to be really popular with older adults?
So we find that phones are very complicated. It's like the most complicated aspect of assistive tech especially for older adults. Kind of functions like using reminders on your phone, like the native apps. So not necessarily downloading apps, but the native apps that are on your phone, like alerts and reminders. We have an entire presentation that we give, which is like how to make your phone work for you. We also find that the simpler the better. So whatever simple, kind of straightforward app works, that should be the app that someone uses. So yeah, and mostly it's accessibility features on phones that we find is what people need more so than like apps specifically. So we get a lot of people just like, how do I use Siri? Or like, how do I turn on my voiceover? Or like, how do I make my phone contrast to like black and yellow? And how do I increase the letter size? And so that's usually what we're doing with phones.
That's great. And I'm going to echo what somebody put in the Q&A. You're wonderful. Thanks for all the info.
Thank you.
So I think we got a lot out of this, and I don't see any more questions coming in. So I just want to thank you again, Tom. I really encourage everyone, take a look at TechOWL, take a look at the survey. This is a free resource for you. And to keep an eye on our bigger programs. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up, and we hope you'll continue to join us. So thank you again, Tom, for being with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Take care.